What's good, Royal Republic? Welcome back to another video. Editor Sly here. Glad you could make it. Before we start, please join the Discord community, link down below for me. When you click the link, the invite should appear as shown. Click accept invite for direct access to yours truly, your fellow community, as well as being notified every time we go live. You'll also be able to view all VODs from the Discord server, as well as any YouTube videos, and be notified when I post here on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, around 99% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. Make sure you fix that by hitting the subscribe button and turning on all notifications. If you do that, I can find the content for you and we can watch it together. Shout out to all my current subscribers as well as current subs on Twitch. We call y'all citizens, you feel me? And yeah, enjoy the video. What's good, YouTube? We're back with our favorite tolerable power scaler, Tyler, the boy Ty. So I was gonna pre-fire a little like on the video. We're gonna be talking about the Kizaru problem. We just saw the video about the Aokiji agenda. This video I technically saw first. I just hadn't reacted to at all. It was just, I just saw like the thumbnail, do it on reactions, but the Aokiji one came out after, which is why we saw that one first on the reaction joint. So we're gonna see what Ty is talking about. As always, check the Discord community, linked down in the description. There is the best way to interact with this community. Look at the artists in the community, recommend things for the channel, get in direct contact with me, as well as be notified every time I post a YouTube video and every time I go live on Twitch. So do me a favor, do yourself a favor if you enjoy the content. Check out the Discord community that's linked down below. Without further ado, let's talk about the GOAT. Aokiji's the GOAT. Let's talk about one of the GOATs, Kizaru.
Borsalino, also known as Kizaru, has been getting a lot of controversy recently due to the One Piece anime changing things within the fight between him and Luffy. And so today I wanted to not only analyze the laid-back Admiral, but also break down his fight with Luffy and if he was mentally nerfed and if he was secretly the strongest Admiral who can solo the Yonko. Now, Kizaru, when he was first introduced to us, was shown to be quite the trouble for our main heroes, having the broken ability of a Logia Devil Fruit user, which allowed him to be pretty much invincible unless you use Haki. And by this point in the story, Haki was not relevant at all, so he was just a walking monster. And unlike the previous Logias our heroes have faced, this guy actually doesn't waste his time in defeating his targets and also isn't committing pure evil. You see, Kizaru works directly for the government.
Yeah, he's like a lazy kind of errand boy type of guy. Like Fujitora questions justice, right? And I think that's why his color is purple. It's very noble. Green Bull just follows orders and he's low-key a little bit. That's why I got afraid of Shanks. This a whole ho. This Sakazuki, he a whole ho. Aokiji would have been somewhere on this joint if he ain't quit. But Kizaru literally just follows orders, I'm not gonna lie. And he handles things the quickest way possible. Which makes him stubborn, but it doesn't make him evil. You feel me?
As an admiral, an enforcer of justice, or pretty much just a super police officer that goes around the One Piece world and stopping crime. And when our main hero hits a celestial dragon so hard that the screen goes black and white, best believe our main man Kizaru was there. He would embarrass the Straw Hats along with beforehand eliminating the majority of the supernovas, and he was about to kill Zoro before Rayleigh would then step in, where they'd seemingly go toe-to-toe with one another. However, it's clear that during the fight, Rayleigh was losing stamina pretty fast during the encounter, and Kizaru is clearly not trying his absolute hardest to kill Rayleigh. Reason I say this is because we then see him in Marineford shooting nukes of laser beams along with blitzing the legs of Whitebeard and then just off-guarding him with beams to the chest. Had Kizaru moved like this against Rayleigh, he would have met up with Roger in the afterlife real quick. Kizaru as well during Marineford, despite performing better than when he fought Rayleigh, is still holding back due to not wanting Marineford to get destroyed. And this is the same...
Yeah, every admiral that was like trying to destroy Marineford, which is why like we didn't get hockey clashes.
Kizaru, who's also stated to be the fastest admiral, which is pretty interesting considering Akainu can tag an enraged Whitebeard along with being able to use Haki to evade Marco's blows. Which really goes to show you how much he was holding back considering Marco's whole thing is that, oh, he intercepted Kizaru and he also tagged him. Even though realistically Kizaru could have just warped around his attacks as easy as Akainu did. And Marco is the same character who goes on to literally handle King and Queen at once for a significant period of time and even block hits from both Big Mom and Kaido. Kizaru is a monster even before going into Egghead and obviously during the next and Kaido.
Look how peak that animation is. Hold on, that low-key
significant period of time and even block hits from both Big Mom and Kaido.
This is low-key PFP worthy. This is hard.
Kizaru is a...
Look at the... Bro, these don't get paid enough, bro. Shout out Vincent Chansard. I thought it was Vanchard. But like I remember seeing like a like headline and it says Vincent Chansard.
Monster even before
I
going
think he's
into
European.
Egghead, and obviously during the next arc he'd go on to show his best showcase of feats yet. But before we move on, I think I need to mention a few things going into the arc. It's clear Borsalino never really had a clear sense of justice. While
Yeah,
Sakazuki enforced his justice with an iron fist and wanted people to fear him, while Aokiji wanted his justice to be justified and for the people to follow him, he dances on the line of good morals and does just what is needed to get the job done because there's no
exactly.
more that needs to be done. However, our
Lazy.
middleman Admiral now is put up with the task to go and kill Vegapunk, which is an old friend of his, along with also finding his nephew or Sentomaru, who overall is the inspiration of Sentomaru joining the government in the first place. And I know I'm getting
Dang.
sidetracked with the whole narrative aspect of Kizaru holding back, but I think it's really interesting to see an admiral who doesn't have a distinct line of justice now being put in a super personal situation. I mean, it's pretty telling of Kizaru's mental state going into Egghead, even before going into the fights. And even with this in mind, we'd see Kizaru's presence alone terrifying the likes of
But
Luffy
you have to
going into the
ask.
fight.
Let me at least stick to my. That's crazy.
And even
son.
with this in mind, we'd see Kizaru's presence alone terrifying the likes of Luffy, forcing him to jump out and face him head
Kaido,
on.
by the way.
Luffy would then remark how he's 100 times stronger than before, calling back to the Rayleigh statement, and yet despite this and using a transformation that increases his speed, Kizaru would blitz and embarrass Luffy, which, side note, could be used as even more evidence to push the whole Kizaru over Rayleigh agenda. In the anime specifically, Kizaru literally just perception blitzes Snake Man. Like in the manga, it's at least indicated that Kizaru's blocking some blows from him, but in the anime, he doesn't even hit him once, and in the anime as well, when Luffy squeezes him, Kizaru doesn't draw blood. And side note, I don't think Luffy getting blitzed by Kizaru gets talked about enough, considering the fact that Luffy has future sight. This version of Luffy is speed personified, and Kizaru completely blitzed him.
Now, unless Kizaru is like Shanks, who has the title of Observation Killer, then he's so fast that someone who can kind of perceive the future could not see his movement, if that makes sense. And you could argue maybe he could see it, he just couldn't react to it. But now we're getting to points like how Goku had to like surpass Hit with his time skill.
Which really goes to show you just how fast this man is. In terms of actual speed showings, he probably has the most impressive showing in Egghead, as you'll see here in a bit. But when Luffy uses Gear 5 against Kizaru, we would see Borsalino using his light to make clones, along with engaging in close quarters combat to slice and dice Luffy. And thanks to some cheeky tactics, he was able to put Kizaru out of commission with the Star Gun.
That's a creative way to use your powers. Gee. Bro, this nigga Luffy going to Gear 5 and start doing murderous feats, bro, casually. Nigga done shoved his whole fist through his skull.
Gas himself out of Gear 5. So technically this fight would end in a stalemate, but it's clear once again that Kizaru was not going all out. We'd see Kizaru being hesitant about killing his old friend, even though he has to. And with Luffy of course defending Vegapunk and questioning Borsalino's morale. Like with most obstacles Luffy faces within One Piece, Borsalino would then act with a change of heart. He would go on to Perception Blitz the entire battlefield, Luffy included, and get him food so that Luffy could regain Gear 5 once again. And funnily enough, this is the one Kizaru speed feat where he's not holding back. However, it does not help that the feat is him helping a crippled Luffy. Yeah, like what are we gonna say? He's perception blitzing Saturn? Oh my god, guys, he's top 1. Kizaru never not being at full power kind of makes him a double-edged sword in my opinion. He's a top tier based on his casual feats, but he doesn't have enough to suggest he's one of the all-time GOATs just yet. With his
Yeah, the only issue with that is like his like lower ceiling is clearly, I guess you could say his power floor is clearly indicated, but his power ceiling is never really mentioned, and there's no such thing, rarely, like a gag character, as a character who has no power ceiling and is just all powerful, right? Unless we're talking about growth.
Impressive speed, along with his great resume in Marineford and Egghead, I'd say he'd managed to take out some of the Yonko, like, Buggy and Big Mom, maybe? But to say that Kizaru was holding back to such a degree that he would mid-diff or even low-diff Luffy, and saying that he would just mog on Kaido because he gave Luffy a Wendy's 4-for-4 is kind of a reach. He's consistently beating up high-tier commanders while nerfed, and he even managed to stalemate a Yonko while going through it. However, there are other factors within that fight as well that I have covered in literally a video and stream that you can go and check out for yourself. And by the end of Egghead, we would see all of this mental distress that was building up within Kizaru in Egghead all come out during his conversation with Sakazuki. Once again, while Sakazuki Kizaru in Egghead all come out
that's my bad, brother. Just shut up.
During his conversation with Sakazuki.
Well, if you've got time to waste doubting me, come and see for your damn self, maybe? Oh, come see for yourself, you damn angry.
Sakazuki. Once again, while Sakazuki and Aokiji's perspective on justice are very distinct, Kizaru is someone who's kind of in the gray area.
Woo!
And so
Hold
when a
on.
man with a justice are very distinct, Kizaru is someone
That's kind of hard. That slide animation, it reminds me of when Toto did a little clap. It was like these, and he's floating through the, not the clap. Well, he clapped, switched place with the rock, and he was like floating like these before he hit the black flash. So,
who's kind of in the gray area. And so when a man with a gray sense of justice is put into a scenario where he has to betray his loved ones to do what's right, and if he fails, he's betraying the one thing that he's believed in, regardless of the outcome, Borsellino was destined to lose this mission, whether it be mentally or physically. And this aspect of the Admirals really adds an entirely new perspective on the role, as it really shows what you have to do and what it means to carry out your duties. Even when you don't have a standout moral compass, rather a more realistic and grounded one, you still need to make the hard choices while also not having anything holding you back. And unfortunately for Kizaru,
hood translation. Unfortunately, even though you have a job, kind of like how Gart said he, you know what I'm saying, couldn't save Ace even though he had a job, he still wanted to slide on Sakazuki, but he couldn't because due to Sengoku, his friend, he was like, damn, I'll spare him this time, right? Hood translation, bro, shit ain't sweet. It doesn't matter which side of the line or which side of the fence you're on, the grass ain't greener. You just think the grass greener because in your mind you're using your perception to make your grass darker. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, no matter what side you're on, there's casualties, there's rules you can't break, there's, you know what I'm saying, times where you want to do something but you can't do it. So Luffy wanting to be the Power King is ever so more apparent why like that is a good goal for him. Because unlike Naruto wanting to be the Hokage to like protect people, Luffy is fighting in a world of oppression and he wants to be the Power King to be the most free. So in some case, it's symbolic that his fruit is Nika, who was someone who fought for liberation, freedom. You know what I'm saying?
he can't do one or
Boy,
the
Oda be
other,
cooking.
which has been evidently shown in every relevant encounter he faces. And he's lucky my go Ben Beckman was holding back, bro. If he shot that Conqueror's cap into his fucking face, he'd get cooked.
Shut up, man, Beckman. Yeah, normally the video, it's not this much outro left.
Bro, Tyler, you know nothing about Borsellino scaling. He gave Luffy a 4 for 4. He speed blitzed Gear 5 and Saturn. The Gorosei are relative.
Yeah, GG's, bro. Shout out Ty. Another good video on this topic. I truly can say he's one of like my most trusted like power scalers. Not in terms of like I deal in like debates about power. I don't see that as like entertaining, but and trusted in sense of he doesn't make a lot of leaps of logic, where like there's gaps and there's holes. He says things that can be backed up, right? That was another great video. You know what I'm saying? Comment down below your favorite Admiral. Without further ado, you know what I'm saying? I know it's time to see me next. Peace.